Welcome to the True Man Podcast. This is an invitation to radical reconstruction of a man's masculine heart and soul and a place of safe community where we dare to ask questions deep seated inside a man and explore ways to help you become a better man, a better son, a better dad, and a better spouse. Well, thank you for being back with me on the True Man Podcast. And again, this week, I just want to say, hey, we're rolling out. True Man, if you're seeing this on camera right now, you're seeing me hold it up. True Man, True Ways, a roadmap of discovery to the masculine heart. Yes, the book is out. So how can I get it? Well, thank you for asking. Man, many of you have jumped on this, and I tell you, it warms my heart how many books have gone out, how many opportunities I've had to sign books. I'll tell you, it's a humbling experience to see your name on a book, let alone sign one. But if you'd like to know how you can get your hands on True Man, True Ways, or maybe even make it a gift to the man in your life, just go out to truemanlifecoaching.com. You'll see on the top of the webpage there, books. Go out to my book page and it will connect you and set you right up with Amazon, of course, and you can get that thing probably sent to you within a couple days. They seem to be arriving pretty quick. But again, I appreciate all the love and support I've received for this book. It has been wow. It's been good for my heart to feel the support. And along with that, of course, I mean, if you're listening to this today, right, you're listening to the True Man Podcast. And the book and the podcast, I think, go hand in hand for each other. So if you know somebody out there that is trying to grow in their walk with Christ or just grow in their walk as a man, just grab your phone right now and forward this podcast on to them and help us grow the True Man community. So what are we up to this week? What is Mike up to? I'll tell you, if you listen to this podcast, maybe you've caught on to the fact that much of the time I'm talking about things that I'm walking through in life, or maybe it's something that came up in a Friday men's group, or maybe it's something that happened to me during the week. But I don't think I'm some unique animal. I think we're all very much the same. And I think sometimes, at least I know that I have decided to play small rather than go after greatness. Now, that may look different for each and every one of us, but that's what I want to talk about today. Playing small instead of going after greatness. Now, I'm going to make a very direct statement here right out of the gate, and that is this. The world wasn't made for you and I to play small. I don't believe that. Why don't I believe that? Well, God didn't breathe life into your lungs just so you could spend your days barely getting by, shrinking from challenges and settling for less than greatness. He put inside of you greatness. I'm convinced of that. I know it. I've seen it for myself. And I know that you were made for something bigger, just as I am. Yet too many men today are living like shadows of who they were meant to be. They think small, they act small, they set small goals, and they've accepted mediocrity as their standard. So you've heard me talk a little bit about that on the show. And worst of all, they have convinced themselves that playing small is somehow noble, that it's safer, wiser, or that it's just the way things are. But let's be real. That is not wisdom. And in fact, we could say it's defeatism. And it's destroying a lot of men from the inside out. Have you experienced that? Have you felt that self-destruction as a result of trying to play it safe? So, I love to tell stories. Let me tell you a story about a man named David. Not David from Scripture, although we'll talk about him later, maybe. No, I'm talking about a man I knew personally. David grew up in a rough part of town surrounded by men who settled for what life handed them. Have you known one of those guys? Some of those people? He watched his father work a dead end job and come home exhausted and would collapse in front of him and just watch television every night. His uncles did the same. It was really the culture in that family and in that area. Work hard, complain about life, and never expect anything more. But David had a different fire inside of him. He refused to accept that was going to be his future as well. So he did what most men wouldn't. He sought wisdom. He read books, found mentors. He studied how successful men thought and lived, and of course began to build a relationship with Christ. He sought wealth not in a greedy way, but in a way that allowed him to create freedom from his family and give generously. And he prioritized wellness, knowing that if his body was weak, his mind and spirit would follow. That's a valuable lesson from David. And it wasn't easy, of course. People mocked him. His own family told him he was being a little arrogant and that he should just be thankful for what he had. Ever heard that one? But David saw what they didn't. He wasn't rejecting gratitude. He was rejecting the lie that he was supposed to live a small life. Now, years later, that man owns multiple businesses, leads a thriving family, and mentors young men to break free from the cycle that he escaped. He's living proof that greatness is a choice. So look around you. We live in a world of infinite possibility. A man can build a business from his phone. He can learn new skills, build his body strong, sharpen his mind, and grow spiritually at a rate faster than any generation before him. We've got a lot of tools in our tool belt. Yet, what do most people and most men do in general? They settle. They convince themselves that it's too hard, too risky, or that they're just not that kind of guy. They make excuses, procrastinate, and stay stuck in the struggle because pushing through discomfort seems unbearable. Now, we talked about discomfort on podcast number 196. So if you want to learn more about that, go back and check out that podcast. But here's the truth. The pain of mediocrity is far greater than the pain of discipline. Now, the suffering of an unfulfilled life will weigh heavier on your soul than that struggle you face pursuing greatness. And the question is, do you see yourself living in a small story, or do you see yourself living as a beloved son of God in the larger story? You know, God has called you into something bigger. He never told men to shrink back, to play it safe, to accept defeat. The Bible is absolutely packed full of stories of men who had every reason to stay small, but chose to rise up. So let's talk about one of my favorite characters in the Bible, Joseph. Now, the man had every excuse to give up, didn't he? He was betrayed by his brother, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. At any point, he could have decided that life was unfair and settled for a small, defeated existence. But did he do that? No. Joseph didn't complain. He didn't make excuses. Instead, he worked with excellence wherever he was placed, whether in slavery, in prison, or in Pharaoh's palace. And because of that, we see where God raised him up to become the second most powerful man in Egypt. He went from a forgotten prisoner to the man who saved nations from famine. Never know when you're going to need to act on that dream, right? So you see, greatness isn't about having perfect conditions. It's about how you respond to adversity. How are you responding to adversity in your life? You know, Joseph chose to rise and honored God in that choice. What about you? You know, one of my favorite Broadway musicals, by the way, is Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And the music is from Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice. And I often find myself singing from that musical from time to time. I'll spare you that opportunity right now, but I enjoy that show so much. And yes, it's the music, but it's the amazing story of redemption and not giving up despite the odds being stacked against you like they were against Joseph, but he kept fighting. He kept believing. Isn't that the story that you want to talk about with yourself? The story of believing, succeeding. Isn't that the kind of story that you want to be a part of and explore and expand on? The story of Joseph. So, why do we sometimes play small instead of playing big or instead of moving towards greatness? Well, what if instead of making excuses, you make progress? What if instead of staying stuck in a struggle, you push through to strength? What if you committed to pursuing wisdom, wealth, and wellness, not for selfish gain, but so that you could live as the man God created you to be? Now, what does scripture have to say about all this? Well, just look at Proverbs chapter 3, verses 13 through 18. This is out of the King James Version of the Bible. And I love these verses. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all the paths are peace. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that reigneth her. Whew. How does it make you feel to hear that? I feel strength, clarity, and peace just by reading it. It gives me understanding of what to ask for when I go to God in prayer. Wisdom, right? Discernment. But wait, there's more on wisdom. Yes, wisdom. Wisdom is true power. A man who seeks wisdom leads well. He will make sound decisions. He will navigate life with confidence and strength. Wealth is influence. Money in the hands of a good man changes lives, doesn't it? It allows him to provide, to give, and to expand his reach. Wealth is not about greed. It's about impact. It's about the good that you can do with it. Now, wellness, that is a foundation. A weak body leads to a weak mind. If you neglect your health, both mentally and physically, you are limiting your ability to live fully. Strength isn't just about muscle. It's about resilience, it's about energy, and yes, it's about discipline. If you choose to pursue these three things and intention, could you not transform your life? Could you not step into the greatness that you were meant for? The only thing standing in your way is the mindset of playing small. Now, life offers us choices every single day, doesn't it? We choose to either step forward into growth or shrink back into comfort. We choose to either break through limitation or stay trapped by them. We choose to either rise or retreat. So, what will it be? Are you going to keep living a small story bound by fear, excuses, or mediocrity? Or are you going to rise up, seek wisdom, wealth, and wellness, and step into the greatness that God has called you to. Now, the world doesn't need more men who play small. It needs men of strength, wisdom, and impact. It needs you to rise up. So make the choice today. Refuse to play small. Choose greatness because that's what you were made for. Now, as you go out this week and discern more about where you're at in life, are you going to choose to play small or do you want to play big? Are you playing big but want to get bigger and really dwell in the house of greatness? Well, I would encourage you to build some time and journal this week about how you can get more of the life you want and cast away the things that are causing you to get less of what you want in life. So if you're unsure of what that means and you want to talk more about it, you can feel free to reach out to me for a free initial consultation. You can email me at mike@truemanlifecoaching.com or just go out to my website. There are numerous places on there where you can click and get on my calendar. Calendar is not the easiest thing to get on these days, but I will certainly make time for you to hear about what's going on in your life because my goal is to help as many men achieve greatness in their lives as I possibly can. So if that's you and you'd like to talk more about it, if you'd like to get your hands on the book, as I mentioned at the very initial part of the podcast, of course, just go out to my website, click on books, and it'll take you right out to Amazon. You can get True Man, True Ways, a roadmap of discovery to your to the masculine heart. And I would be honored if you would go out and do that. And buy another one. Give it to a buddy. Maybe you can do a book study together and learn from each other. How awesome would that be? And I would love to hear that story. So certainly reach out and let me know if that's something that you're up to in your life. Well, thank you for listening. As always, please go out and give us a great review on your favorite podcast channel. Always love hearing from everybody and hearing more about what they think about the True Man podcast. Now go out this week and really think about how you can live a life of greatness. Journal about it. Think about it. Write about it. And let me know your thoughts on greatness. Always love hearing from people that listen to the True Man podcast. So as we end this week, thank you so much for listening. It means so much to me. Now go out and make this your very, very best day ever. God bless.